ham and beef kebabs, shanks. I mean, these are all things you get at a typical Greek restaurant.
Well, first they spell it differently. That's the first thing.
Well, yeah, because they're not Greek.
Then how was it the same?
It's the same. It's rice with meat on a stick, some hummus on the side, some lavish bread or pita, depending on.
Look at the pictures again.
Okay, these aren't the. Hold on. No, because their pictures on there are.
Their pictures are of things that aren't what I'm trying to describe.
No, what I'm saying is the pictures on there.
We didn't eat there.
No, I ate there with Greg the
did?
night before you, and it was delish. Okay.
Oh yeah, that kind of looks like it.
This though was amazing.
Well,
it comes out right out of the oven. You poke it with a knife and it deflates. It's basically like fresh pita right out of the oven. It was delish.
Is that braised lamb?
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
See, you would eat Mediterranean.
Maybe I would.
It is not that far off.
You remember that one place we went to?
That was Mediterranean food.
No, was it?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yeah.
No. It was
Iranian.
Yeah. That's not Mediterranean.
It's on the other side of the Mediterranean.
Is it?
Yeah.
Really?
Actually, it wasn't Iranian. It was
yeah. The lemonade was.
Best coffee in the world right there. That's the type of coffee you have to eat with a spoon because there's so many
Turkish coffee?
Yeah. Oh, see, Turkish coffee.
Yeah, but that's Turkish food, not Mediterranean. Right? Well, why don't they call everything Turkish food then?
Because there's different countries on the Mediterranean.
Let me see.
Countries bordering the Mediterranean Sea include
Europe, Turkey,
Africa.
It ain't Turkey.
Hold on. Keep going. It's shared by Morocco, Algeria, Tunisia, Libya, Egypt, Asia, Turkey, Syria, Lebanon, Israel, Palestinian territories, including the Gaza Strip.
This is AI misinformation.
Okay, hold on. Let's look at a map. Boom.
I don't see Turkey on this list.
Right here.
It's more Aegean food then, if anything.
Oh, Joe.
I'd say.
Literally sits on the Mediterranean Sea.
Barely.
No,
barely.
The Aegean Sea is this little tiny piece.
So is Greek food Mediterranean food?
Yeah. Greece.
Is Italian food Mediterranean food?
Technically it depends on no. It depends on where you eat. Like the food changes. The food you get up in Rome, completely different than what you get down in Sicily or even in the Atlantic Sea.
So does Egypt make kebabs?
Egyptian kebabs. Good question. Does Egypt have kebab?
Have a language.
Yes, Egypt has kebabs.
Oh my gosh.
And
kofta.
Yeah.
Yeah, kofta is, and then there's kefta, which is like beef and lamb. I think it's beef and lamb mixed together. Yeah.
So all I'm saying is you like
all right.
Food.
I stand corrected. I
Food.
I guess I do.
All right, everybody. This is Nick Smith, your favorite. Nope, I don't like that one at all. We're going to start that over, please. If you all turn that into a short on YouTube, I'll be very bitter.
It's going to happen.
Yeah, I know. I should, the moment I said it,
the
moment it came out of my mouth, I'm like, that just like committed it to being a short.
Oh, yeah.
Because I said it, and then it had to be after
It's that. All Silas wants. It's all he wants.
I know. He's always looking for more ways to torture me. Did you see his like Morphe face photos on Insta the other day? Or no, that was a YouTube. Yeah. I was like, I look like a failed Disney character on that one. That's when you work at the park down the street from Disney. It's like, hey, you didn't have Disney money, but you can come hang with us. We're kind of cool.
We're Datney.
We've had 17 days since the last death on one of our rides. That's horrible. All right, InfoComm came and went. If you didn't go, well, bully on you because it's in one of my favorite cities in the country, Orlando. And do you have to ask why that's one of my favorite cities?
Is it?
Yeah.
It wasn't mine after how hot it was.
Dude.
It went down a couple of.
That is nature giving you a
bath
every morning. Oh, and sometimes you need one after you've been hanging out in Orlando.
Wow.
So that's all I'm saying. Hey, listen, no, I love Orlando. I love the Gators. I love the food.
I didn't see any.
I love the restaurants because you didn't take a walk around the lake. It was hanging out there. So I love.
Oh, by the just as a brief aside, our understanding of how big a lake is versus how big a pond is. Oh yeah, wildly different. Wildly. But anyway.
But you know the rule about a lake in Orlando, right?
No.
If you stick your hand in the water and the water is wet, there's bound to be gators in there. That's just the rule. That's just the rule. That's
on the hotel
reason number
grounds.
27 why I love Orlando. But no, I do the food, the people, the fun. I mean, you got all the theme parks. We did go to Mickey Land one night. Well, we didn't go to Mickey Land. We went to Disney Springs and we ate at Summer House, one of Brad's favorite restaurants. He eats, if there's a Summer House in town, he eats there. Sometimes if there's two, he'll eat, he'll do a bang bang and he'll just go like from one restaurant to the other. Brad loves Summer House. He will eat there constantly.
Yeah.
I think
it was delicious.
And he wanted to use us to rank up his points too. So
and we had those donuts. We had those donuts too.
The donut shop in Disney Springs. Yep. No, that was tasty. Yep. That was not my favorite restaurant. My favorite restaurant was probably this one, Bosphorus. Highly recommend if you're into Mediterranean food. It's a Turkish restaurant. Really, really good. But you got to try. They have this bread that they bring out. Where's that?
It doesn't look anything like Mediterranean food.
Oh my gosh! This is the lake theory. Your issue with the lake and mine.
Where is the gyro?
There it is. There's the bread, the Piedler bread. So they bring this thing out. It's huge. It's hot. It's steaming. You have to poke it with a knife or a fork from a distance because it'll like gush steam right after you do that. But then you're tearing this thing apart and dipping your hummus in it. Oh my God, it was so good, dude.
Really?
It was so delicious.
All right.
That was awesome. I'm going to say Domu was your favorite. Am I wrong?
I technically like the Disney Springs spot slightly, like just because of they absolutely destroyed their devil eggs. Those were really good.
Those were impressive.
But I'd say as a full on experience, like culinary experience, Domu was definitely the one.
Well, and you all were doubting me when you arrived, but then you got inside and you looked at the sign that said Michelin rated.
Only doubting you because of the hour-and-a-half wait time. That's the only reason why.
Good things take time. Good things take time. Like my hair. I'm still
but it was just like the way that so the way that he described this was basically like, we're gonna go get ramen. We walk up, it's in a normal strip mall. Yeah. There are zillions of other restaurants with no wait whatsoever and stuff. And he's like, well,
there's probably good reason.
Yeah, and they said it's gonna be about 45 minutes to an hour. It was probably about that, maybe a little longer. And I'm just like, why are we waiting here? There must be other ramen places. It was only after we had waited in line that long that it was like, oh, actually, it's Michelin recognized. And it actually was really good.
Oh, dude, the chicken wings, like you don't go to a ramen house for fried chicken wings.
I'll take it back. It was better.
Those things were bomb.
It was better. I should have gotten the Richie Rich and I waffled and I didn't get the Richie Rich. I got the Tokyo.
I agree with you. I should have done that too. The one I got was really good because it was a Thai flavored, like that was delish. But yeah, I mean, you should always get the shoyu your first time at any ramen house.
Yep, right? That was my bad.
Okay, but the standout winner with everybody we sent was Sofritos.
Which I still didn't get to go to. I feel bad for not going.
Next time, because there will be absolutely more times in Orlando.
Oh, no.
But no, this place, again, folks, if you happen to be in the Orlando area and you're looking for some great... I wouldn't put this necessarily as pure Cuban. It's got a little bit of everything. You can see Argentinian, Cuban, Colombian, Venezuelan.
But according to you, it's all the same. So, yeah.
Kiss my what? But there were arepas. There are breakfast arepas, the pabellon, I mean, all of these are just phenomenal.
Do they have platanos?
Of course they do. Yep, they do. And then this thing, the chichapa. Holy crud. I ate one of those on my way out for the drive home. I barely made it home. Thankfully, I had a Cuban coffee on the way as well. So that helped. But that thing would have put me to sleep. It is a sweet corn pancake.
That's what you meant.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
If I didn't have my dairy pills, it would have been not getting home for another reason.
No, the cheese was like this thick inside of it. So
gosh.
Phenomenal stuff. But that's not why we're here today. We're going to talk a little bit about InfoComm.
Let's do it.
So if you weren't there, you missed some things. I just got a couple of highlight reel stuff for you that I want you to know about, because I think these are going to be big. These are going to be loud, and they're going to be often, so they're great stuff to talk about. So let's jump over to more on the announcement side of things that were announced, but not, necessarily released yet. HDCP over NDI. And so they were showing it in the NDI booth for the first time ever. This one's really big because this is, I think, going to help NDI get a firmer foothold inside of the AV space, the InfoComm arena, right? And it's going to allow it to step outside of the normal bounds of just production. And now, if you don't know what HDCP is, this is a high definition encryption, or, encryption for high definition signals. This is basically a thing that doesn't allow you to record your Blu-ray. Not that anybody needs to record a Blu-ray, not that anybody really, uses a lot of Blu-ray anymore. But either way, there is still encryption in a lot of different sources. Even if you're not using a Blu-ray player, you could be using a MacBook, and MacBooks have the ability to trigger encryption. In fact, any HDMI transmitting device can create an encrypted signal if the content that is being pushed over it flags it, right? If it says, hey, I want to be encrypted so that nobody can record me. And really, this is your Netflixes, this is all your core, sort of streaming platforms now. And then, of course, many media devices, because they don't want you stealing their media. But there's oftentimes when we need to show it on a screen. So with that being said, we need to be able to say again.
Gaming?
No, it depends on the game. I did see it in Blu-ray a lot not Blu-ray, PlayStation and Xboxes in the console wars. We definitely see it there. We noticed we didn't see it at all at NAB in the Switch. We weren't having any issues there. But when you get into some of the other consoles, you can certainly see it, in that road. PCs, not so much. But there's easy ways to circumvent that in a PC. It's just, screen capture and whatnot. NDI output right off of your desktop, and you're pretty much good to go at that point. But certainly we see this as a must-have in many arenas, especially in the corporate world, where you are dealing with different people bringing in different devices, and you never know what it's going to be and what the content is on your big screen. So you need to be able to support HDCP. Now, really, all this is, in theory, is that the transmit device sends out a pulse signal that says to the receiving device, i.e. the TV or the decoder or whatever it may be, hey, I've got HDCP content coming, or encrypted content. Are you allowed to view it? And then it says yes, and away the data flows, right? And so very simple, but not so much when you get into AVoverIP, right? Because now we're dealing with one transmitter that might go to multiple destinations, and that can create problems. Because then every device has to be capable of receiving that signal. So oftentimes what we see is they put a limitation on the number of downstream devices. We call them sync keys. They're the sync that catches it, right? So oftentimes it might be, well, we're only going to release 25 keys, i.e. only 25 devices can receive this signal. It can get awkward and confusing. If you get into an environment where you need more than 25 HDCP decryptions, please let me know. I'd love to talk. I don't see them that often, is what I'm saying. But either way, this is big for NDI. I think this is a lot about the development team they've been bringing on that have come from other AVoverIP standards groups like SDVOE. And so we're seeing good people come into the environment saying this is what it needs in order to survive the next wave. And this is all part of sort of the big open ecosystem messaging that you're going to hear a lot about in the AVoverIP world, which we're going to talk about in a moment. But in the meantime, let's talk about our old friends at Geffen. Geffen, been around forever. I mean, these guys are older than Crestron. They've been around for a long time. And, the thing I love about it is they just don't give up. So kudos to Aaron and the team. They announced 17 new products. Was it 17 or 21?
Yeah. Actually, if you go to geffen.com/InfoComm25, it has a list of all of them.
Oh, this is their winning the award.
No, so they're winning stuff.
They did win an award. So
/InfoComm25. You could just use your keyboard
InfoComm. I can? Is that what that's there for?
Yeah.
If I get it wrong, it's all on you. Boom, there it is. Yep. All right. So now we've been partnered with Geffen for probably longer than I've been in this company. I think the first AV word I learned was Geffen.
It was one of my first videos.
Yeah,
actually.
Right?
My first video I ever made as the talking head was a Geffen video.
So you've got, this is like a special spot for you.
Oh,
but they've been kind of dark for the last few years. They did have some product development that kind of came and went. They never released the product. There was talks of a Dante camera. There was all kinds of things. But I think they got wise as to that wasn't ready and kind of pulled back. Now they're back. They've partnered up a little closer with the Power Distribution Group, the Furman Group. They're, sort of sister companies now. So you're seeing them show up at shows together in the same booth a lot, which is good because, Geffen needs power, power needs Geffen. But they're all part of the nice group. But really the big news is 20. Where's the number? It's up here somewhere.
17.
17. Yeah. 17 new products. Ranging from USB to HDBaseT to fiber extenders, a little bit of everything. So it's a pretty nice roundup, I would say, of new products that they're dropping on the market. So kind of excited to see the boys in blue they used to be blue back in my day. Geffen was blue. All Geffen was, it was gray and blue. And you always got a really cool blue cable to go with it. So I have like blue USB cables all around me that are from old Geffen products. They're phenomenal. But so excited to see Geffen back. That one's cool. Lots of great new products from those guys. So keep your eye on them. They did win a Best in Show award for their AVoverIP products. It's always been good stuff. It's what the Super Bowl is won on. I mean, every winning Super Bowl team uses Geffen product. I don't know if you know that. What?
The big game.
Oh, yeah. The big game with the pigskin thing that's kind of oval shape. That
it is. So it is wild though that they did as many 8K products as they did. I
mean, at this point, if you do a 4K product, you sort of like who cares?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everything should be 4K at this point. If you give me a 1080p product, I'm probably questioning why you woke up this morning.
Yeah.
Like, why did you deliver a product that does 1080p? Like, where was your head in this one?
Well, you can put it out. Just don't expect people to be all excited about it. But you actually said something really cool on the show floor that you said that that the forward thinking is you buy something. You said something to the effect of you buy something that you don't need now, but you will.
But you assume we'll be there later, right?
Yeah.
So yes, so you wouldn't necessarily buy an 8K TV right now because like, what am I putting on it? There's no really, great plethora of content in 8K. But would I buy an infrastructure that supports an 8K TV later, right? So yes, so you would buy the ability to handle 8K content so that when you finally deliver 8K content, you don't have to rip out and replace your infrastructure, right? So it makes sense to a certain degree along that line. So you would want to be forward thinking, knowing that the infrastructure you're putting in supports where it may be. And it's not just about 8K. We certainly see 6K displays in the Mac world and in the PC world, right? We certainly see higher resolution imagery, even in DV LED, where we might need to be able to push to a very large LED wall that might be 8K, or it might be somewhere between 4 and 8, right? So as soon as we stop ourselves at 4K, then we have the problem of going, well, what if I have a 6K wall, right? Which we had that problem. We had that problem, right? We literally had do we have any? Hold on, I might even have a video.
That's so funny. We both
pull it up.
Boom at the exact same time. That's hilarious.
Yeah, no doubt. So okay, let me see if I can find it now because that'll be the tougher part.
That is so funny.
Nope, it wasn't that one. It wasn't. Yep, there it is. So we did this wall with Barco. It's a Unice wall. And I love the wall. The wall was crispy and gorgeous, but it's a 6K wall. And the only downside was we had a processor that wasn't quite built to deliver 6K. So we had to split up and make 2 4K images and spread the load. Quite lovely. But yeah, so we had that exact problem.
Wow.
So good stuff from Geffen. Lots of great coming. Keep your eyes on, the new products they're releasing. I think it'll be exciting. Now let's shift gears a little bit. Since we hit some NDI stuff, let's go ahead and jump over to what I thought was one of my favorite pieces at the show. I saw it at NAB, but it was fully working here at InfoComm, and this is RFO2. So this is from KiloView. This is a rack mount system, and I say system, it's an open ecosystem system, or it's an ecosystem, really. It falls in line with their Cradle series. The Cradle series from a couple years ago was an interesting product. It was basically card frame. So you could put different encoders and decoders into a frame, and you only had to plug in one power source, but you had to plug in multiple Ethernet cables. And I thought that was a little bit of a miss. Well, they're back. KiloView is back, and this new one is the RFO2. And the RFO2 has got multiple slots inside of it. for different types of processing cards. Those are NDI encoders, NDI decoders, SRT, multi-viewers. They got a host of different cards. If they have it in a throwdown box, you will see it in a card format. Now, the big thing though is, so 18 card modules is some of the modules. So you could do 18 encoders and decoders. You get a high performance 24 port 1 gig switch, because if you think about every card you put in it is going to have a port switch in it, and you can cross, kind of move data between those. And then you get a management server. The management server is actually the software we run to control all our KiloView devices. You can do firmware updates and manage their inputs, outputs. So you have the management server built into this. You no longer have to run it on an external device. That's not where it gets really awesome. Do notice that they got 10 gig ports on this thing. In fact, multiple ones. So you got tons of overhead in terms of ensuring, and that's the joy, right? When I said in the previous generation, we had a port per card, well, therein lied the problem, right? Because you couldn't share resources across the entire backplane, and you eat up a lot of network ports on your switch. Now you're taking up fewer, but you need a wider port. You need more bandwidth, of course, to support the throughput necessary to handle 18 different processing cards. So good stuff on that. You get encoding, decoding, you get the KiloView server. You can also embed bonding. So if you've got one of their P3s or P3 minis out in the field, this becomes your bonding server, and you don't have to do it in Amazon and pay the extra charges. That part's lovely. But my favorite, and I think this was yours as well, because was it you that asked on the training this week about Windows?
Yes. Yeah, it was.
Yeah. So, in order to run the software layers like the control and the bonding and those things, you need a CPU card. We need an actual computer. Let me find it in here. Where is it hiding at? Here we go. Optional cards right there. The compute card. So the 8600 card is an actual computer. In a very, very small form factor, designed to pop directly into the back of this. So your networking is done. And you can effectively run these software layers. So I think we even talked to the guys at Llama recently that they've certified their software to run on this. It runs Windows or Linux. Sorry, Mac users. So cool. It's interesting they chose AMD on this. I thought that was quite an interesting choice. We've seen, the world kind of defaults to Intel most 90% of the time. But when you're running Linux, when you're running, things that are just really about processing and compute, not GPU, this makes a great choice. But this is how you can run software.
I wonder if they're ever going to do a record card, like put cube functionality into this card ecosystem. That might be interesting.
That's interesting, because if you look right back here, there's some extra ports, and one of those is usually an SD card slot. So in all the previous generations, you can actually insert an SD card, and there's a USB port here as well, where then you could do recording directly on the card. You just have to pop it and pull your SD card. But you could do it like as a backup record or something like that. So if you were doing it, an encode card or a decode card, you had that ability to have additional, data flow. I don't know if that's going to be the case on all of these.
Because if you could take the card of the drive cradle, the drive sled from a cube, and put that into two of them into the back of one of those cards. Oh, that would be so cool. That would be amazing.
That's probably a piece that you got to push over to Judy and Jacob and say, hey, could you make me a recording slot for this? I mean, even if it was just 2 channels or 3 channels or 4 channels. Yeah, that'd be killer. But yeah, lots of cards coming for this. I'm really excited about this. We have one en route, so we're of course going to slap it on the bench and give you all a review here in the next couple of weeks. But very excited about this product, and I think it's a really great infrastructure piece for people doing large scale NDI and other formats, all in the same, having that all in the frame, plus getting all the control and everything else. Let's jump over and talk a little audio for a second. You probably heard us talk about the Punctum series of comms from Riedel. This was an interesting bit. So Punctum is a party line system that all operates over Ethernet. You just slap down a network switch, plug in your body packs, and you're done. They do have base stations for doing more intelligent control or just having a gooseneck. However, they released this cool little desk or wall mount panel which I thought is pretty smooth. It's designed to either mount on the wall or put on your desk. And so you have a dedicated base station. You don't have to deal with a body pack sliding off the table or having to deal with a larger rack mount processor. So pretty clean, pretty simple on that front. In fact, here, let's just look at the base station so you can compare what that would look like. So there's your speaker base station there, much larger, takes up 1 RU, belt packs, to get different options there. The base stations, I believe, are 4-channel, if I remember right, or you can have 4 independent channels monitoring through it. But again, very nice little kit to add into if you're looking for an inexpensive party line system that's all IP based. It does have some wireless capabilities over an app as well, but it gives you complete, network ability to take your body packs anywhere. This is a great little system. And now with this desk panel or this desk mount, I think you got a nice little addition there. In addition to that, Riedel wasn't done. They do have some other toys they dropped, and kudos to Matt Bain for bringing this one to us and kind of showing this off. So they built a bunch of throwdown boxes. Now, these are not specific to Riedel, meaning you could buy these and use them with virtually anything. So like in this case here, it's a party line extender. This works with Bolero and Artis, but it'll basically work with any 2-wire intercom system. So it just gives you a gateway to kind of pull stuff in and out. You've got the AES encoders and decoders. I dig this one. So if you're doing AES 3 or, AES audio, and you just want a throwdown box to get some more inputs or outputs across the network, killer little box right there. This is the output line. So you get a quad in or a quad out. Duals over here. This one, and by the way, all of these have USB functionality as well. And this is the part that I thought was really interesting. It's like, okay, I need AES and I need to encode that and send it onto network, but I also want to monitor on my local computer, right? Or I might have some recording software or something else that I'm doing and I want that source here as well. So it's got a USB port on it, plug that in and boom, you're up and running and you get local capture at the same time.
Nick, where are people using, or where could you see people using this outside of because this seems like this isn't necessarily assuming that you're going to be using this as fully as an intercom system.
No,
this is pure,
the intercom. Right? So toss the intercom stuff aside for a second, then just look at the encoders and the decoders, like the AES stuff. I mean, in a broadcast environment or a truck environment or anywhere else where you're going, hey, I've got my audio network running, all this audio flowing across the network, but I just need to plug in a monitor or headphones, or I need to get some audio off the network into my computer, and trying to do it over software might be a little, more complicated. So it's really about, let's say we're running a concert and I need back of house audio for the stage managers to be able to monitor what's happening, right? And this is a pathway to that where I can just plug in traditional, speakers or whatever else I want to use, headphones, or just pop it into a computer. So it's just really about adding flexibility to any type of AV over IP network, right? That's always the issue with AV over IP. I sometimes need a box to get signals in or out, right? And audio is no different. So this is giving us more flexibility, more types of boxes to use to get the content in and out. Yeah, very excited. Now, I thought these were kind of interesting. Not the 4-wire, but over here, the GPIO. And this is going to go to a specialized type of environment where we might need to be triggering, or, I'm like, this is the type of thing you buy to build a game show, right? With buzzers and timers and things like that and tripwires. But I mean, having that many GPIOs, that is a very interesting environment. If you're planning to use one of these, please call me. I would love to know what you're doing. I'm just like, where are you needing that many GPIOs? That would be really kind of fun. So some pretty cool stuff on that. But so those are all the new interfaces that Riedel's drop in. Again, you don't have to be a full Riedel user to say, oh, I need a little audio here or there, or an extension for something else I'm doing. So exciting stuff on that front. All right. Let's shift gears now to Matrixx. So a couple exciting things coming out of Matrixx. And some that aren't necessarily new, but have sort of grown and they're getting closer to launch. But before we go there, let's start over here at the Convert IP series. So Matrixx went all in on IPMX a number of years ago, right? And so the Convert IP series was their movement into the open standards ecosystem. Now, when I say open standards, this is meaning that I can buy a Matrixx box and pair it with a Barco box, and those two things will work. Crestron Kramer, anybody else want to play that game? Like, I can't think too many of you are in that space where you want to play nice with others in the same sandbox. However, I think we're getting into a world now where we sort of have to.
Yeah.
We sort of have to start thinking about sometimes somebody makes a box with SDI, right? If you look at most of the AVoverIP standards in the world, there's not a lot of SDI input cards for these. We sort of built it around an HDMI world. Well, Matrix has got one in SDI, so maybe you just need an SDI one for them. Or better yet, they have an HDBaseT version. So you might have a really nice HDBaseT infrastructure, but you want to peel the signal off and send it over the network, right? So you've got that capability here. So that's sort of where the open ecosystem messaging comes in, which is, look, you may not buy all Matrix, but you can buy, we might have a box you need. You might want to go with everything we have and then maybe mix somebody else's into it. But all of them are designed to work together because they're standards based. This is Dante. This is NDI, this is IPMX, this is 2011 or 2010, 2110, right? This is the world of open standards AV over IP. Awesome. Love it. Okay, now that we've set that tail, Matrix has got their Convert IP series, which is a series of encoders and decoders, HDBaseT, SDI, HDMI, all the flavors there so that you can get things in and out of an IPMX network. Love it. However, now I do love this one part here because they operate on 1 gig to 25 gigs. So there's sort of a little knob there. It's like, yeah, my network switch goes to 25. So let's go to 25, right? You can dial in your codec to
it's on my Christmas list, Nick.
A 25 gig switch or a dial that cranks up the...
either one. Both.
And here, I was just going to get you a stable ZZ button, but that works too.
Dang it.
All right, so you've got all these different IP over, AV over IP encoders using IPMX, but what if you're one of the lucky souls that also has an NDI network or something else? Well, there is Vion. Vion was talked about some time ago, and it's about to drop for everybody. But this is really what we call a bridge, and this is an IP video bridge. So this is the gateway between your other codecs and IPMX, right? So we've got versions of this that have encode, versions that don't have encode, versions that are just designed for IP to IP. So whether it's H.264 or HEVC or JPEG XS or NDI, you can bring in those sources and output IPMX, or vice versa, bring in IPMX and output those other flavors. So it really gives you that capability to move content between the different types of networks. And I think we're going to see more of that from Matrix in the coming months as they have other releases coming, which are about creating this open ecosystem that actually expands to other standards and allows sort of any standard to play on a singular framework. And then you're not swapping out encoders and decoders all the time based on, well, this codec is X this time, right? So I need a different encoder or a different decoder. So really cool options. They also have the DVW, which fits into this space as well, which is their video wall product. And you can pull all these sources and then map them out across the video wall. So cool stuff from Matrox, and it gets a little better. So if you take everything you know about 2110 and IPMX and put that into a KVM, then we get the Avio 2. And I'm really excited about this one because typically in a KVM environment, we have a closed loop system, right? I can only show on my KVM what came through my KVM encoder, right? So I have to have an encoder somewhere to pull the signal. But because this is built on SMPTE and IPMX in 2110, we can actually pull sources that are already existing on the network and put them into our KVM network, right? Or be able to, put them into a monitor on our KVM, right? So it just adds a ton more flexibility for what a KVM can be, right? We still get control. We still get the KV of a KVM system, which is the keyboard, video, and mouse.
So the KM, I guess.
Yeah, the KM. That's fair. I was thinking keyboard. But yeah, so you still get full control, right? I get redundant and dual networks. I get high performance video. I get seamless switching. I get the security. This is very important, right? I need security to ensure that if I do have a important source, that not anybody can play with it, but the people I intend to, right? But it's built on open standards that allow us also to play nice in that larger open ecosystem that I was talking about earlier, right? So it might be that I have some NDI sources and I want to flip those into my KVM network. Well, you get the bridge device, you get other tools, and now you've got a really interesting ecosystem of products that, again, play nice. If it's IPMX, if it's SMPTE, if it's NMOS, all the APIs are here so that we're not having to rebuy or constantly forklift upgrade everything. So really exciting stuff coming from these guys. Keep your eye on the Avio and the whole open ecosystem from Matrox, because I think these guys are sort of leading the path right now with what AV and broadcast. And let's be fair, at InfoComm, we had more broadcast vendors than we had at NAB. That should tell you where the market is going right now, that the next great evolution, it was AV over IP, it was IP or IT into the AV world 10 years ago. Now it's broadcast into the AV space, right? All these worlds are coming together, and Matrox is poised right in the middle of, hey, we do both and we do it well. So very excited where that's going and what they are doing with IPMX. All right, let's round it out with one more exciting show. And this was Quorum from Ross. I really dig this product. I think people need to see it. This was his sort of big debut here at InfoComm.
It's really cool.
They were showing it a little bit at NAB, but it wasn't quite ready. But look at the awards this thing is picking up already, right? Product of the Year, Sound and Video Contractor, Best of Show, Best Market and Pro AV. Ross, broadcast company in Pro AV. So all these cool things. Effectively, what this is this is a control surface to run production in a, let's just say, city council, right? You want to do city council, but you want to make it really, really easy. Well, we put all these little pictures on the map of the floor here, and then let's get that down. Let's get that audio down. And then we give control to somebody who just needs push buttons on a screen, right? Tap on the person who's talking and the camera maps to that person. It brings up their lower third. It takes them to air. It really makes complicated city council, large meeting environments, multicam environments when you might need, say 7, 8, 9, 10 cameras to solve this particular environment. It makes it really, really easy because everything's mapped out to where the people are sitting, and then you just got to hit a button. It's controlling the cameras, controlling the graphics, controlling the switcher. And it even gives you multiple outputs on the switcher too. So some pretty exciting, sexy stuff from this thing. I'm digging what Quorum is in this environment for these large scale city council, government type environments. And of course it can go right into corporate and a dozen others as well. But that's sort of where it was baked from that front.
It's crazy. It looks like it's sort of from those, maybe I'm wrong, but it looks like it's almost a hypervisor of multiple rooms. So you have the opportunity to be able to have one dashboard, but you might have, like 5 or 6 different rooms, but whichever one is being used at the time, it's still all the same dashboard. You're just clicking on different people's pictures. It's really crazy.
No, it absolutely could be, because in the end, the software doesn't know or doesn't care.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That it's in a different room. You're setting up maybe MEs in the switcher to handle those other rooms, depending on what type of production you're running. But it certainly is really designed around the idea that, running a broadcast doesn't mean a giant control surface in front of you. It might just mean a touch panel. And I think that is a change that we're going to see more and more into the future. AI is going to do more of this sort of, auto switching or auto thinking for us, and really we're just making big level decisions at this point because we already know where the people are sitting, and we already know what their names are, right? So why am I struggling to fire off these crazy macros constantly? So really exciting stuff on that front. All in all, InfoComm was a smashing success. We had our own booth this year. That booth was awesome. We had what did we put in there? We put in
the bowling cameras.
Bolin was there. They made a big splash this year. Mark Roberts made a big splash this year. So yeah, we had the video wall, the Mini S from VizRT. So yeah, it was a great show. We showed off a lot of cool stuff, and we ate a lot of great food. So what more could you ask for?
Better weather. Better than that.
Okay. It did torrential downpour. Flood, thunder, and it took us an hour to get to our hotel one night. But you guys were digging the thunder.
I was digging it.
You all were little kids. Oh my God, that was awesome. I saw one. That was
pretty cool.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
It was awesome. It was awesome.
Yeah.
But it did shut down the pool that night. And that was a little tight.
Dave was
and
real
so was
tight.
Silas.
Poor guy. Awesome.
All right, with that, let's call it done. Thank you so much for your time, people. We'll see you at the next trade show. And if you missed the show, well, catch us here.